Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights at the September edition of the Metals Investment Forum. And with me right now is Francois Motte, CFO of Aclara Resources. Francois? I've been down to the assets, the rare earth element assets of Aclara Resources, both in Brazil and Chile. And what people need to understand is when we talk about precious metals and many products, they tend to be fungible. So we don't worry about, where the product goes. But if you're involved in any kind of critical mineral, you need to know the company knows everything from not only mining, which is almost the easiest part, to processing, but about the final products. So I guess the first question is, how is Aclara Resources different than a lot of these rare earth companies that seemingly aren't so rare right now?
Absolutely. So the first thing is that we are developing ionic clay deposits. That's our main difference to other rare earth deposits, which mostly are hard rock. And ionic clay deposits have three advantages. One, the metallurgy is extremely easy. We just mix water, ammonium sulfate, and the clays, and we can get the rare earths in 15 minutes. So very easy metallurgy. The second thing is that they have the most expensive rare earths and the most scarce ones, which are the heavy rare earths, and today the ones that are fully controlled by one country, which is China. And third, we do not recover or we do not concentrate any radioactive elements. This has been a concern for many governments,
With the monazite.
Exactly, with the monazites, and the country has been struggling to permit this type of mines, which are mostly hard rock or mineral sands.
To have uranium in the tailings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ionic clays, we have developed a process not to touch any of those elements. So our product and our process is clean of those radioactive elements.
So in Chile, you were developing a project, which you still are, Penco, which is smaller, but has a decent ratio of heavy rare earths to light rare earths. The dysprosium terbium, which is a critical mineral, a very critical mineral, I guess, for the USGS, versus the neodymium praseodymium. But you had a permitting issue a couple of years ago, but now it seems to be resolving itself as you've talked to the government and changed the scope of the study. How is that working for you?
Thank you. That's a very good question. The reality is that the process itself, and know that we have deliberated, is very sustainable. But mining in the south of Chile, it actually doesn't exist. So we are in an area that is a forest, but it's not a natural forest, it's an artificial forest. However, when we engage with the government, we engage with people that is not used necessarily to mining, it's used to forestry industry. So initially, how the company presented itself, presented as a mining company with Hochschild background, the mining background. However, we started to understand that what the authorities wanted actually is a focus more on how we were going to take care of the forest, which we will. So, for example, we are proposing to revegetate everything, not with artificial forest, but with a natural forest or native species. So that has changed. And the other thing that for us was important is we're a junior Canadian company proposing this type of friendly mining, but it generates distrust. Of course, people is not like immediately trusting you. So bringing a local partner with a very good reputation, especially in the region, was key for the government.
And that was CAP.
And that was CAP.
Yeah.
So it changed a lot how we relate to the authorities when we did this deal with CAP. We are going to the meetings even with them, and it generates more trust to the project and to the management. In addition to that, the Chilean government has shifted a lot since the beginning. It was a tough government, the British one when it came, but they realized that they require mining, in order to present a growth opportunities in the future for the country. So they have been shifting back to supporting mining, and we have been receiving that, especially from the central government. The local governments or regional governments are a little bit tough, but that's where CAP comes in, with the good reputation they have, and we have a good mix there. That's how it has changed. Our environmental study, we file it again. We review it with CAP, with all the sustainability with CAP that has get permits for a long time. So they improved our study, which was, I think, already good, but they improve it. So now we have passed the first stage. We have received observation, and we are in the process of answering those observations, which we target to do it for the first quarter of next year.
So your company was motoring along very well until the permit was asked to be taken away.
Yes.
Now you have improved that, but in the interim, you have added another project which is actually bigger than Penco
Yes.
in Brazil, which
Correct.
I visited as well. So what's happening at Carina?
So, as you mentioned, this project in Carina is 10 times larger in terms of resources than Penco.
And similar in terms of being an ionic
It's
absorption clay deposit.
an ionic clay. It has slightly lower dysprosium grades, but slightly higher NdPr, so it's just rebalanced on that terms. But it's an ionic clay, and it uses the same technology. It's 10 times the size. And we have been very happy to be in Brazil because the government has been extremely supportive from day one. Now, Hochschild Mining, our main shareholder, has a mine in the same state, which is the state of Goiás, the Mara Rosa gold mine.
Yeah.
And we have an embedded good reputation. So the government was very keen and very fast to do, and we've signed an MOU, to try to accelerate the permitting.
And this is in the state of Goiás.
This is in the state of Goiás.
Yeah.
So basically, we're committing to invest the money for the capex, which is around 600 million, and they're committing to help us accelerating the permit, which for us are extremely key because that's the bottleneck to put the asset into production. So initially, we made a timeline, of course, moderated timeline, putting the permit as a bottleneck, and that timeline yield producing on 2029. Now that we have signed this agreement, we are trying to bring back the date to 2028 and even the end of 2027. So, and that's only from the support of the government of accelerating the permitting timing.
Well, it seems like both Penco in southern Chile and this part of Brazil is really pushing for jobs and development, and this new issue with the Bio region in southern Chile, where I was, is that they want development, and your project in Penco has been named one of those to support the development and making long-term jobs down there. And I think that's the same thing that they want in Brazil.
Correct. You're totally correct. So in Bio region, there's a small financial crisis because there are many important businesses in the region that have been shutting down.
Yeah.
The last one, very important from our partner, has been the Huachipato refinery, steel refinery, which has been put in suspension due to the low steel prices.
Iron ore and everything. Yeah.
That more or less puts out of job 42,000 people between direct and indirect jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big concern between other businesses that also have been reducing. So the government has put a plan to strengthen the industry in the Bio region and has put us as one of 25 big projects that will lead, that support our economic growth towards the medium term. In Brazil, is similar because we are in a place where they call it the misery corridor. It's a very poor area. There's almost literally no businesses. So the reason of us appearing there for the government has been an incredible news, and that's also the support we're receiving because they want us to help develop in the new community, which is around 3,000 people, but it's very, very poor. And then, of course, helping to grow the businesses and small businesses in the area.
So you've advanced from an acquisition of Carina through to a PEA, which you just released a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And now you've moved, I think, the pilot plant from Chile over into the state of Goiás.
Yes. So basically, the pilot plant operated in Chile for 3 months last year. This year operated for 2 months in Chile as well with the Carina clays. But now that we are advancing fast the Carina module, we realized that the Carina module, despite it's exactly the same technology as the one in Penco, it needs to be fine-tuned specifically for that type of clays. Meaning, if, for example, you're leaching in pH 4, you leach pH 5, and so on, you have to have the correct parameters. So we are at this point advancing a metallurgical testing campaign, both in Brazil and in Canada, to get to those right parameters. That is finishing just before starting the new piloting for Carina, which will be the final piloting, let's call it, where we are going to produce the product that we expect to produce in the industrial plant. So we are basically going to pilot and qualify the product, that we're going to produce there for with customer and with ourselves for the next stage. So this is the input for the feasibility study, the piloting input for the feasibility study. The piloting we did this year at the beginning was more indicative. We didn't understand too much how was performing this ionic clays, but we had the pilot plan, so it was an advantage to understand, okay, how this performs with the parameters of Penco. And now we are fine-tuning those parameters.
So, I mean, for any kind of critical mineral, the idea is, because it's not fungible, is not only, the mining is almost the least problematic. The processing, which you have patented, is important, but also your final products. And you've made agreements with other people downstream,
yes,
to help you finalize what your products will be.
Exactly, because this product, this carbonate, this mixed rare earth carbonate of rare earths, which is charging heavy rare earths, there's no place today outside of China to be processed. They could be, there are many projects, but there's no today a place where we can send it. So we believe our company is much more valued if we sell to the West. In order to do that, we need to have that path of processing. That path can be either we get a partnership with a separation company, or we do it ourselves. But this separation process, which is the next step, is tailor-made for the product. So even if you're doing with a partner, that partner needs to be kind of married with you. And that's really tough, because separation companies,
they've got the supply.
and separation companies wants to have many suppliers. Yeah. And it's very difficult to do it tailor-made for you if they have many. So we have understand, and we have decided to do it ourselves. So we are concluding the conceptual study of separation, the next stage. We are doing that in the US. It's coming out, the news release next month. It's actually looking quite nice. And with that document, we are already in talks with the US government and Europe government to see if they have interest to locate that there, and we can get some financial aid. That's a little bit the idea.
Right.
At the end, as you say, we want to sell to Western automakers. In order to do that, we require this processing. But at the same time, this is just to get into individual oxides, and the final product is a magnet.
Yeah.
So we did a strategic agreement with VAC, Vacuum Schmelze. Vacuum Schmelze is a German company that signed a contract with General Motors, is building a plant in South Carolina. And the idea is that they would be the preferred choice for us, so they can do the magnets, and we would be the preferred choice for them to provide the raw materials.
Which would be the oxide.
It could be the oxide or the metals and alloys, which we are also developing with CAP, our partner in Chile. It can be both. It doesn't have, because they have their own partners that produce metals and alloys. So it will be more what the end customer wants. Their partners for metallizations are normally in Asia, and that will depend of what. But we're trying to give to the end customer is flexibility. That's that. So if they want a traceability and what they want us to do it, we want to be prepared for that. We're getting up to the alloy, which is the raw material needed to make the magnet. No, we're not going to magnet, and we have chosen VAC. We are also in talks with other magnet makers, but it's important to create that flexibility if we want to sell to the West. If we want to sell just a concentrate, then of course China, and that would be the easy path.
So if we look at this, you have a soup to nuts sort of agreements to try and get you from mining clays into a product, not only carbonate, oxide, potentially metal, potentially magnet, which is very downstream, directed to the US to get some financial aid and lower your cost of capital for a junior developer. You're well supported with Hawkshield, which is backing you, as well as CAP, which is a partner, and you've partnered with other people. I mean, right now you have some working capital, but I guess what would any investor out there want? What should they see in the next 6 to 12 months with respect to catalysts coming out of
course,
Aclara?
Absolutely. So I'll start with Brazil. In terms of Brazil, we're drilling to measure and indicate it. So we are upgrading the resource to more confidence in order to enter into the pre-feasibility and feasibility stage. We are going to be also issuing the report for the processing, that will be fed by Penco and Carina. So and that is this value aggregate, so we can go and talk to the US government, and that is coming next month. And then in relation also to Brazil, the permitting, we are delivering in the end of Q1 the environmental study. It's called the preliminary license in Brazil. And with this agreement with the government, we expect a fast track evaluation, hoping
because of the region you're in.
Exactly. Hoping that we can approve it either by the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. So it's actually very accelerated for permitting, but we need to comply delivering the document next year by the end of Q1. In relation to Penco, we are going to be delivering the answers for the observations that the government made. We are
in the permitting process.
Exactly, in the permitting process. We are targeting to file. It's called the Aclara in Chile. That's the name, and we're aiming to file that document by the end of Q1. It's completely within the timings we were expecting, and we told to the market. We still expect to receive the license by the end of 2025, so we are complying with that program very well. In the meantime, once we are delivering that, we are going to be restarting the feasibility study. We advanced 50% of it, and we want to complete it together with the approval. Exactly, because we want to be quickly ready for construction. So that's and again, finally, besides that, we keep negotiating with automakers. So as soon as we can, of course, sign a good agreement, we will do it. A commercial agreement, which is key. We are in talks with the government, so as long as we can secure good financing, proposition from government, all those things difficult to put, of course, a date, but it's a constant job for me and the management to get it in order to be ready for the construction, and of course the support, not only commercially, but also the government.
Okay, well, that's Aclara Resources, a company focused right now in South America on ionic clay deposits, rare earth element deposits, both advanced in permitting as well as technical studies, with strategic partners, not only Hochschild and CAP, but also strategic partners downstream to not only process oxide, but potentially also metal and maybe magnet, with a focus on the US potentially as the ultimate buyer of the product. And this is all wrapped up in a market cap or an enterprise value, of less than $10 million. So that's Aclara Resources, ARA on the venture. And that's Francois Motte, who's the CFO of Aclara Resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sure.
And it's Joe Mazumdar, Exploration Insights at the September edition of the Metals Investment Forum. Thank you for listening.